Jeremiah Smith is the number one wide receiver in the country, and we're talking with Zach Smith about what Florida can possibly do to flip him. The number one wide receiver in the class of 2024. He's committed to Ohio State. Everybody wants him. Florida fans think that they have an outside shot to flip him because he has a great relationship with our quarterback commit, DJ Lagway. Have you heard anything with your Ohio State connections? I know you probably don't follow as closely anymore because you don't have to. But what are your thoughts on Jeremiah Smith?
Well, listen, I recruited South Florida for 6 years, I think, and no one is out in the recruiting battle of anyone from South Florida ever until they sign. So as much as I've heard about this kid specifically from high school coaches in South Florida and coaches at Ohio State, and it seems like a very, very strong bond, strong commitment, not like a lot of recruiting battles I had in South Florida where you feel like it's flighty a little bit. Mm-hmm. This seems very, very likely to end in the kid playing for Ohio State. It's never done. And the one thing I do know about the kid is he's not going somewhere because of a quarterback allegiance. Like, I don't know if you know the timeline of his commitment to Ohio State, but he committed to Ohio State, and a lot of people thought it was because Dylan Raiola was committed to Ohio State, number one recruit that ever fucking lived, was going to Ohio State. And he committed to Ohio State, and like a couple days later, Dylan Raiola decommitted. Mm-hmm. And most people thought it was like, oh, he wants to go play with the number one quarterback in the country. And then when Dylan Raiola decommitted, he told the staff, he was like, yeah, he told me he was going to last week, like before he committed. Mm-hmm. So I think the kid is going to Ohio State for one reason: Brian Hartline and Ryan Day's offense. So that combination, like the track record that Brian Hartline has since he took over my job, and the track record that Ryan Day has with receivers in the throw game is unprecedented. And that's why the kid's going there. He believes it, right? He's bought into that. Now, could that change? Could Brian Hartline take a job? Could he, change his mind? Absolutely. But if I had to put money on recruiting, which I would never do in South Florida, I would actually put money on this kid going to Ohio State.
Okay, so you mentioned, if Hartline leaves or something, what do you think the chances are that Hartline leaves Ohio State anytime soon?
Well, you never say never, but Brian Hartline, what I'm most shocked about Brian Hartline is how good not how good he is at recruiting, but that he's into it, because he's an NFL guy. Like he was my assistant for 2 years, and you could tell he was an NFL coach. Like, he wanted to be an NFL coach. He likes the NFL model better. He likes dealing with grown men, professionals, businessmen, more so than kids. He's kind of evolved into a college coach, but I don't think that itch has gone away. Mm-hmm. So I don't know the opportunity it would take. I don't know what it would be, but I would give it a 25% chance that he gets an opportunity that he would take after this season, especially becoming the coordinator at Ohio State.
All right. So if Jeremiah Smith doesn't go to Ohio State, let's say Hartline gets an NFL opportunity, a coordinator opportunity, something, and he's gone. Any gut feeling on where he would go? Have you heard anything from your South Florida sources?
No, I mean, I've right now it's all Buckeye. Mm-hmm. And so it would take something like that to get the kid to kind of falter or trend away. I know the kid likes Florida. I know the kid he likes the powers in the SEC and the in-state schools, but he's too committed to, or too bought in on being a Buckeye right now. But I think when and if that does change, that's when it's going to be an absolute race. And the things that a school like Florida is doing could pay off in the long run, because they are still building a connection. They're still building a relationship. They still have their commits talking to him and kind of working the game. And in one of those situations where, like, all right, well, if something happens, I think Florida's in a great spot to be that landing spot where it's like, all right, this is not what I signed up for. Where am I going to go? Oh, I have great relationships with these coaches at Florida, great relationships with these commits. Like, let me go visit them, and they could really close the deal. I think they're in a really good spot if kind of chaos happens.
So you are in an incredibly unique position, because you worked with Hartline, but you also worked with Billy Gonzalez. Yeah. So what are their coaching differences or similarities, and how do they develop players, the same or different for the NFL?
Hartline's a more, I don't want to say evolved. I don't want to say anything. It's nothing negative about Billy G, but Hartline is played in the NFL. Like he knows receiver fundamentals as good or better than anyone in the country. And Billy G's a phenomenal recruiter and a really good college coach. I don't know that he has the receiver acumen that Brian Hartline does, but I do think that if you put them in a room with a recruit with no logo on their chest, Billy G's a better salesman. He's a better talker. Like he's better at getting kids to, want to go to your school. I mean, he recruited Percy Harvin, which was absurd. I mean, that was Percy Harvin was the only player like Reggie Bush that I can think of, where it was like everyone in the country was sending the best of the best to go in and get Percy Harvin. Everyone. No one didn't want him. And you didn't see a coach go in to visit Percy Harvin that wasn't the best recruiter on that school's staff. And he won out of Virginia Beach for no reason. I mean, we were a nobody. We hadn't won anything yet. You know what I mean? We were 05. We won a couple games. Mm-hmm. And so he's a phenomenal recruiter. And Hartline has done really well recruiting. A lot of that, I think, is system fit and his development track record. But I would say Hartline has the edge in receiver development and fundamentals, and Billy G has the edge in recruiting.
Appreciate Zach for taking the time to join us. If you missed our chat with him about what to expect from the upcoming Swamp Kings documentary, click right here.